What's going on, yo? Welcome back to basketball. Today, I've got another mock draft for you guys. We're doing it every 2 weeks. We're starting to really get into the prospect scouting season, so hey, let's get into it. And we're back here on Bleacher Report. It's always Bleacher Report. I love these mock draft videos, I'm not gonna lie. So let's lay some things out, right? As you guys know, prospect scouting, that's my background. I'm really big into this. I'm really big into the development of people, analyzing them, stuff like that. It's part of my day-to-day job now. Big thing that I do. I've been starting to upload videos on my channel where we're going through some of these guys. We've done Dylan Harper, Thomas Sorber, and then I just did Derek Queen. At the time you guys are seeing it, it's today, but it would have been like 2 days ago for you guys, trying to get ahead on videos this week. But we're going to be doing more and more videos on these guys, so I'm going to be getting more and more intel about these guys and forming stronger opinions. So just know that, we're still working on a lot of guys at the end of the day. I think it's important to know that I don't have fully formed opinions on most of these guys. There's a long way to go. I know I said at the end of the day, I'm sure some of you already copped that as well. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of get that out there and say, like, yeah, that's an important thing to note. We also don't really care about the teams that's selecting these people right now. We'll worry about that as we get closer to like the actual end of the season. There's just no point in speculating right now, right? Like, if you're a fan of a team, sure, you can have guys you're hoping for. Like, yeah, I'd love to have Cooper Flagg as a Bulls fan. I'd love to, but it's just not realistic to say who's going to get that right now, or the possibility of a fit and things of that nature. But anyway, without further ado, let's start getting into these mock drafts and such. So the first one, Cooper Flagg. This isn't changing. Cooper Flagg is locked in at number one. I don't need to beat a dead horse with this, right? We've been making these videos every 2 weeks for a reason. Cooper Flagg hasn't left the number one spot yet, I don't think, and I don't think he's going to. Cooper Flagg just looks like the best player in college basketball right now, and he's going to be an amazing pro. As I say with all of these videos, whether you take Flagg, Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey number one, I'm telling you, it will be Cooper Flagg. Like, there's no shot. I'm sure the Vegas odds makers will at some point be like, oh, look, we're starting to see Dylan Harper like rise in the boards. And then people are going to report on it and stuff and try to make it a dumbass story. But really, that's just part of like strategic betting and stuff to try to get more people like in on things. So just know that everything's calculated there, okay? But no, Cooper Flagg and everything that he does, just being 6'9", that athletic, that keen defensively, can go up and down the floor, good handles, the shots coming around. Things are looking good for Cooper Flagg, man. It's looking good. So don't overanalyze like a little bad game that he has here or there. There's going to be people that try to be assholes and they're like, oh, well, ABC, like, look at this pass he made here. Like, he hasn't been clutching these little... Shut up. Just shut up. He's 17-year-old and killing everybody else that's older than him and supposed to be better than him. So he's that dude. Good for Cooper Flagg, right? There's already an ambulance going by this early in the video. You choose to live in major cities, man, and that's just what you got to deal with. But anyway, number two, the New Orleans Pelicans, Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper's most likely going to go number two. No surprise there. As I told you, we did the video on Dylan Harper. It was fun. I like doing these videos a lot because I get to be like kind of an asshole and like make fun of the dumb stuff that happens in college basketball, but also still hype up these guys, and they're really educational as well. So go give those videos a watch, man. Like, the educational ones don't tend to do as well on the channel, but so far you guys seem to be liking them, which is cool. I hope to keep doing more and more like these. But what did we learn about Dylan Harper? He's ready for the NBA. No doubt about it. He is ready to go. I thought I'd keep you on the edge of your seat for just a second there. Nope, he's ready to go. Look, if you guys watch those videos, I'm pretty critical, and that's my job, to be critical. It is my job as like a scout to find flaws. That is my job. And it is very hard to find flaws with him. There was a couple times I saw him go to the hoop and kind of run into situations that he didn't need to run into, but he found a way out of them each time. And so it's like, oh man, like, he just looks ready. I feel like I could drop him into any pro league right now and he would have a lot of success. Just the size and the skill and the shot making. Oh, looks great. Absolutely looks great. And then just imagine when he gets better teammates around him too. Like, because this is something to remember. The Rutgers team is not very good outside of him and Ace. Outside of him and Ace, not very good. So just can't wait to see those guys on another team. He's big Jalen Brunson. That's the comparison we're going to keep going with for him because I think that's an awesome comparison. Ace Bailey, my favorite dude in this draft. 6'10", tough shot maker, crazy athlete. Now, what are some of the downsides of Ace Bailey? We're going to do a video on it at some point. Like, look, the assist numbers are pretty low. Some people will say the vision's bad. I disagree with that one wholeheartedly. Like, I don't think the average person that's kind of covering this stuff can tell the difference between people not knowing where to be on the court and a lack of, like, playmaking ability. I think Ace has that skill set in his arsenal. He just doesn't really get the... There's another ambulance. I tell you, somebody better have shot the Pope or something like that. I don't know what's going on out there. But anyway, no, like, I just don't think people can really tell the difference between, like, the weird stuff that is college basketball and the basically 1980s style that takes place in, like, Big Ten basketball, especially, and a lack of playmaking. I think he's got the skill. I think it's there. And you just don't overthink it, right? He's in this pantheon of these top 3 dudes that I think is all NBA or future all NBA talent, but 6'10", can handle the rock, can go up and down the court, can dunk on anybody, hits some of the toughest shots I've seen in a long time. Like, there's so many, I will keep saying, there's so many NBA guys that just can't hit the shots that he hits consistently. It's incredible, and I'm glad that we're starting to compare him more so to the jump shooters out there, the Brandon Millers, Michael Porter Jr., Rashard Lewis, but the thing is, he's got athleticism too. So I think he's awesome. I'm really looking forward to seeing him in the NBA. I'd love to have him on my Bulls. VJ Edgecomb. All right, so now this is where we start to enter into like the second pylon of players, in my opinion. But I think VJ Edgecomb, contrary to popular belief, is borderline between like that secondary pylon and the first. Like, that's how good I think this guy is too. I keep telling you guys, elite draft class. Elite. I think this is a really, really good class. And look, when you get down into like once you get past like 12 a lot of times, maybe even 10 in most draft classes, like, I'm finding a ton of flaws. And that's common, man. The NBA is hard. The NBA is very, very, very hard. But like, to find 4 guys that I find very little issues with this early on, that's nice. That's really, really nice. So what do we like about VJ Edgecomb? Dude is a 10.5 out of 10 athlete. The 11 out of 10s are for the Thompson twins, as we always say on this channel. The 3-point shots going in now. The assists are starting to come out. The handle's already looking better now. And so you're like, whoa. He's getting all these steals, all these blocks, all these dunks. Like, I saw a stat the other day. He had like 24 dunks in 20 games, which is pretty crazy for college basketball because you just don't get a lot of those opportunities quite as much. It's a slower paced game. But no, VJ Edgecomb looks good, man. I keep saying, in the little bit of film I've watched, somebody is definitely, go watch him if you haven't, somebody is training him to be Anthony Edwards. He moves just like him. He's got the same jump shot. He takes off in the exact same way. Whoever his like off-season trainer is telling him to be like Anthony Edwards, and he's got the frame and the ability to do so. He takes off from deep. We've all seen the dunks, and now the shots falling. I like him. I like him a lot. If your favorite team ended up with him in this draft, you should be very excited. I think you have a potential all-star on your team. That's how good I think this guy is. Who do we got next? All right. Maluak. Come on, Maluak. I believe that's how you say it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've probably been saying it wrong for weeks, but interesting that we got him at number 5 now. I wonder how much of this is like they're trying to say for fit at 5 for Toronto, or is it like, hey, he's the 5th best player in this class? Because I tend to disagree with that right now. I still have to form my opinions. We're going to do a video on him at some point, and he's going to be one of the tougher ones to do film on, because you watch the box scores, you see what happens in the game, and it's really not anything like much, right? There's not like a ton of points being scored, or like even a ton of blocks for a guy that's 7'2", 250 that's supposed to be a rim defender lob threat. Just doesn't happen much. He plays a very different role at Duke than what he's probably going to do in the NBA. But what do we see? Is we see a 7'2", 250-pounder that moves pretty dang well, is still learning the game of basketball for a large sense of it. Because look, he's just... he's got a way to go, right? He's got a way to go. He just hasn't been playing for very long. So I just think that that's an important thing to justify with him. But I don't know, man. Like, I look at him, and I mean, where are we at? When was this article posted today? It doesn't say. I was looking at what time, because I think Duke plays tonight or something, maybe. I can't remember. But I want to watch him play a little bit more. I haven't missed a Duke game because of Cooper Flag, but I want to keep seeing more, because it feels like he's getting better and better every single day. And I don't know. I'm waiting to see it. The Mark Williams comparison is probably a good one. That's what we're hoping to get out of him. Just really big dude. Gonna block some shots, get some dunks. That's exciting. He's got a lot of raw potential and a lot of raw skill. Just big guy moving that fast. That's exciting in and of itself. Ooh, Tre Johnson moving up. This doesn't surprise me. This doesn't surprise me whatsoever. So what have I said about Tre Johnson, right? I think we've got Tre Johnson kind of down pat without having to watch much film. I've said this is tall Cam Thomas, right? This is a dude that goes out there, gets buckets. This dude gets absolute buckets. Probably best bucket getter in this class, right? He goes out there, he's playing by himself, like not passing the ball to nobody, taking tough shot after tough shot, making it. He gets buckets, right? These guys are usually come in a much smaller frame. He's coming in at 6'6", 190. Normally they come in at more of a guard size. He's more of a wing. And so that's what gets you excited, right? It's a Cam Thomas with more upside. Typically what I say with guys like this is you bring him off your bench as your sixth man, little spark plug type guy. I think that's a perfect role for him, especially with his size. He should be able to be a little bit of a defender. So I think that's interesting. I like that they're kind of comparing him to Tyler Hero a little bit more now, because that's kind of what the territory he's starting to get at, because he's going crazy in college basketball right now. Like I just love how like he's like, hey, come set this screen. This happens like every game, it feels like, with him. And the guy comes to set the screen, he's like, you're taking too long, I'm just gonna chuck this bitch right here, and then bow. It's just in. But he's got so many ISO moves, he can get to anywhere on the court, and it just seems like he's adding more and more to his shot arsenal, even though we're not seeing much anywhere else in his game. But that good of a shot maker at 6'6", it's hard not to take that, man. Like I said, you put him in the right role, I'd be really, really excited about it. So shout out Tre Johnson. All right, Kasparas Jakusionis, I think, I'm going to presume that's how we're saying it. So I'm really curious to see what they've written about him so far, because in the little bit I've seen, big fan. Duke's disposal of Illinois made it tough for Kasparas to make any statements in front of dozens of NBA executives. There's current both optimism and debate about how much his potential size, clever maneuvering, and shot making skill and passing IQ can offset his lack of explosiveness and quickness. Here's the thing. I'm going to just say this. I think a lot of people get a little bit lazy and they start to just like be like, this guy looks like this guy, and this is how I view their game. I think because he's a 6'6" white point guard, they think he's not that explosive. I think he's actually like quicker than you'd think. I'm not saying he's like a De'Aaron Fox, like Ja Morant, right? Like those type of dudes. But like, he looks like he's got a decent first step on him, and he looks like in transition he's moving pretty well. So I'm gonna go against the contrary here. And again, I got to do a whole film thing on him. I'll do it at some point. I'm probably gonna do a second one of these videos for you guys tomorrow. I want to do 2 a week and see how that does, just because like there's not a ton else happening in the NBA right now. I could be reporting on what could I be reporting on? The worst value NBA contracts in 2 years. Like, does that really do you guys anything? I guess if you guys want that, I could do that, but you guys let me know. This is a reminder. Like, subscribe, and comment. I've responded to every single comment on my YouTube channel up to this point, and I intend to keep on doing so. If you leave me a comment, I will respond. That's like my entire existence on here at this point. But I like Kasparas. In the little bit that I've seen, I think he's cool. Obviously, the big thing is the shifty ball handling, like they said, and he is a elite passer. There is no hesitation in it whatsoever. Kind of the Josh Giddey response time, right? Where it's just like, boom, there you go. I see that you're opening. Not missing anything. He's hitting everybody for every little pass with pinpoint accuracy. Awesome, right? I'm a big fan of him. Obviously, he's playing with another potential NBA talent in Will Riley, I believe is the name. I can never always remember the names. I'm just bad with names in general, right? I can remember everybody's games, all their moves. When I'm playing pickup, somebody will be like, man, how many points I have in this one? And I can rattle off, yeah, the layup here, shot there. And they'll be like, oh, thanks, dude. And I'll be like, what was your name again? Even though I've played with them probably for like the last 8 weeks straight. I don't know. That's just how my brain works. Don't come at me for it. So I don't know. I like Kasparas. Hope to see more of him. Alrighty. Asa Newell. Alrighty, you guys know that this was one that I'm gonna put a little gold star on myself, and that feels a little presumptive because he's not in the NBA yet. But early on the season, you know, he's late first round projected, and I came on in like my first mock draft videos, and I was like, hey, Asa Newell, saw this guy play. I'm telling you, I think we got something here. This guy's really intriguing to me, and the more film that comes out about him, the more excited I get. So he's rising up the charts. So Asa Newell out of Georgia, they got him as a power forward. I'm 90% sure he's just going to play center in the NBA, but maybe, like, we're seeing teams sometimes go to the 2 big lineup a little bit more again. It's funny how things kind of go through these ebbs and flows in the NBA, so maybe. But here's why it's interesting, right? Most of this season, he's just being a defender. He's blocking shots. He's catching alley-oops. We're like, okay, cool, yeah, nice. No, big dude, like freshman, dunking the ball. He's always in the right place. He's cutting well. Awesome. We love run, jump, and dunk bigs. That's cool. But what I saw in the offseason, I'm like, I see a little bit of handle here. I see a little bit of a jumper. I'm curious to see if that becomes something. we're seeing a little bit of handle now. We're seeing a little bit of passing. We're seeing a little bit of the jumper, and it's like, ooh, wait a second, we might have us like a floor spacing Derek Lively right here. And that's interesting to me. Now look, like Derek Lively's a really good player. It's going to take a lot to become a Derek Lively, but you're seeing the playmaking. You're seeing him being able to like fake a handoff and then go towards the hoop at 6'11", 220. You're like, whoa, and then make a pass or hit an open three-pointer. It's like, okay, we take all of this. Now that's something that you can sign me up for. If I'm a Chicago Bulls fan, right, which I am, if I walked away with Asa Newell, I'd be excited about it. I would. I like Asa Newell. I'm not sure he's going to be like an all-star or anything like that. And look, a lot of people won't. Most people are, look, what is it? It's like 10 or 11 all-stars, like the exact same people every single year. So it just is what it is, right? But I'm a big fan. I'm a really big fan. But it's really the shooting flashes and defensive versatility that could create a different level of upside to Noel. Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be a big one. Like, he ends up on the right team, he could get really good really fast. So just make sure the Thunder don't pick him. Do the Thunder have an early pick right now? Isn't this the Sixers pick? How much is the Sixers pick protected? I don't know, because don't the Thunder have access to that somehow? I don't remember. Con Knippel from Duke. Yep, the same thing that we always say about this guy. While the shooting wasn't like great to start the season, it's starting to pick back up again, which is good. He's going to come in, and the Kevin Huerter comparison is honestly pretty fair, except I think you're going to get a better defender out of him, just because like you see so much toughness and grit in like his style of play. He's very much willing to jump into a pile or like take a lot of contact when he's going to the hoop. He's not going to do that much in the NBA. It's just because he's in college and he's better than everyone else and he gets the chance to do that. But, you know, it is what it is. Con Knippel's shot making has been easy to buy based on his balance and accuracy in every shooting situation. Yeah, it looks super smooth. Teams will eye him for a complementary role that calls for scoring out of spot-up movements. Yeah, if, like, who they have Portland here, that's probably a good fit. And again, we're not talking about that, but I imagine, like, a more veteran team taking someone like him because he's a young guy that could come in and probably contribute in a pretty consistent role right away. So, despite him being a 19-year-old, so I'm a big fan. And I do think, like, long-term, we could get this to a point where it's like, okay, not only are we just hitting, like, the nice jumpers coming off of floppy actions now when your star player's dribbling the ball, but he might be able to catch and, like, rip a little bit, like, bump a guy a little bit, make the next pass, because we're seeing a little bit of that in college now. So I will be curious to go, whoa, we got a jump. Whoa, Jace Richardson. I have not watched enough Jace Richardson. Everybody keeps telling me this dude's jumping up. All right, is this who I have to watch? I feel like I've got someone else on my list. You guys let me know. Do you want Jace Richardson next week? I'll break down Jace if we want to, because now I'm curious. There is debate over what a best case outcome looks like for Jace Richardson, who's 6'3" and hasn't demonstrated much playmaking through January. And then he was inserted into the starting lineup and immediately put up 29 points against Oregon. He's continued to score efficiently by picking up blah, 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 blah. He's also becoming more evident in his role, amassed some shot creation regardless, blah, 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 making 44% of his spot-up threes, 48% of dribble jumpers, and 73% of layups, 46 assists to 21 turnovers. We take that as a freshman. Accurate shot making in the field for the game could have teams valuing fit over upside. Okay, so we've got a 6'3" shooting guard that's scoring a ton of points. So again, sound that isn't really playmaking much. This is sounding like a Cam Thomas, right? That's what I immediately think, but they're comparing him to Cason Wallace, which tells me defensively he's supposed to be pretty solid, right? You guys leave me your comments below on Jace Richardson. Let me know what you think of him, and then maybe next week, if you guys want to, we'll go do a video on it and break it down ourselves, because I am curious to see what we got going on here. Like, is this somebody that can play point guard? Because these little 6'3" twos that aren't quite point guards, Reed Shepherd, like I tried to tell you, 185 pounds. That's not actually like horrible for a freshman, but you know, gotta see it. We gotta evaluate this guy a little bit more. We gotta see it. Liam McNeely. Interesting. Moving up to number 11. That actually, I guess, doesn't surprise me. McNeely's kind of a safe pick, if you will. Despite UConn maybe underperforming a bit right now, like we know as scouts at this point that UConn's doing a really good job of preparing people to become pros. Look at Donovan Clingan, Stephon Castle, right? And other guys from previous years. Maybe don't include James Bucknight, but I could have told you, I had some buddies that were on the staff with him. They were like, yeah, no, we're a little bit worried about him going to Charlotte. And that's actually actually why UConn is so protective over their guys entering the draft right away, and they actually get pretty involved with things, is because of Bucknight. They knew he was going to have problems already. They actually tried to convince him to stay in college because they're like, hey, it's sounding like Charlotte's really digging you, dude. We really don't want you to go to Charlotte, because there wasn't a lot of good culture there at the time. And they're like, he's going to get himself in trouble. We just know him, right? But he was set on it, and it's whatever. So now UConn's much more protective of their people, which, you know, good program. Looking out for their boys. I get it. What are you getting out of McNeely? A shooter. You're getting a shooter and a big body that can maybe play power forward at some point. Keegan Murray's an interesting comparison at this point because we're seeing him put the ball on the floor a little bit now. Again, it feels like more so it's college. He's better than everyone else. Again, note that we're only seeing 19-year-olds up to this point, which is pretty crazy. It's pretty cool. The ability to put up 37 points without advanced handles or pull-up shooting highlights his scoring skills and instincts. Again, I think he's going to be more of a spot-up guy in the NBA, but I like the form. I like the mechanics. Clearly really smart. And look, a white dude in a headband, who doesn't want that on their team, right? You know who does? The Utah Jazz. Get him to Utah. Oh man, I'm never gonna let that joke die. Never gonna let it die. But anyway, no, I think he's gonna be a nice complimentary player to somebody. He'll be a safe pick. Houston Rockets, Ben Saraf, our Manu Ginobili comparison. Yeah. What's the word on him? I haven't been watching much Euroball at all. My business is very focused on getting ready for March Madness right now and building scouting reports and getting things ready like that. So I have not had my eye on the international game at all. I'll keep it real with you. I know I've got international people in the comments. Let me know if you've been watching some Ben Saraf for, I don't know, like a Sengue or guys like that. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Consistent scoring and playmaking production from an 18-year-old in the German League and Euro Cup has helped lock Ben Saraf into a first-round discussion. Yeah, so basically, the conversation with this guy has been big point guard that can get up and down the floor, good passing, showing a little bit of shot creation. And look, he's really young, playing in a really, really good league. So that says a lot more than people playing in college right now. It just does. So hit the level of production that he's putting up. Very cool. Probably going to be a smart basketball player. He's having impressive success overseas with his ball handling, change of pace, mid-range pull-up, flashy craft. Okay, everything I just said. Questions about his lack of three-point volume and shot mechanics, lack of explosion, and weak defensive tools may keep teams from picturing too much upside. So here's the thing, right? People are going to order these mock drafts right now in order of like who they think is the best player. But here's the thing. Not that many teams need like a big ball handler right now, right? Big ball handlers. It's a thing we say often on the channel, but like you're going to get a guy with the ball a lot with this pick, with this pick, with this pick, this pick. You hope VJ Edgecomb is going to have the ball. Tre's going to have the ball to an extent. Kasparis is a big ball handler, right? Probably not Knipple. Jace probably going to want the ball. So it's like, okay, if you're a team looking for a big ball handler, do you really want like the 6th or 7th best one with the 12th pick, or do you take something else and maybe let someone else a little bit lower pick a guy like this? That's what I could see happening to Saraf in the draft unless he has some really good workouts. So I think he's going to have to differentiate himself from a lot of people that have his skill set in this draft class. So something to look up for. Colin Murray Boyles continues to sit at 13. Trust me, we'll do a video at some point on him. I promise you we will. Look, he's college Julius Randle. I'll just keep saying it. He's college Julius Randle. This is the first freshman that we're looking at in this class, and looks like he'll be the first off the board. I'll tell you, I haven't had too many conversations about him recently, but the ones that I did have, you have about 25% of scouts saying like, no, yeah, I can work with this. Like, it works for Julius Randle, and it's like, yeah, works in the sense of like, yeah, he has a lot of production, doesn't necessarily translate to wins, right? The rest of us are just like, I don't see 6'7", 245 power forward that needs the ball on the block this much, that can't shoot a three-pointer. I don't know how I'm supposed to sell that to my GM. And that's where I struggle with things. South Carolina has won 1 game since December, which won't help him. See, it's the same thing. You don't win games like this. Neither does the team's poor guard play. Yeah, that's a big part of it. He's still averaging 15 points on 60% shooting inside the arc, where he's become a dual threat. 7 of 25 marks from 3 isn't going to help. The passing, because he can pass, and he's got good footwork and all that. There is skill set in Julius Randle. I know we shit on Julius Randle a lot, but he's a really good player. If we just used him differently or he played differently, like, the talent is there. So I don't know. I guess if someone thinks they can work with that, they can work with that, but not me. Jeremiah Fears. Alrighty. Man, there's so many guys I want to do videos on. Really, really young. Point guard again, big point guard, extremely explosive. Basically a Russell Westbrook type dude. Is that who they're comparing him to right now? Jaden Ivey, Scoot Henderson. That's fair. So you've got a tall kid that's really skinny, that can't really finish over people right now, but he's got crazy explosiveness. He hits some big shots, also takes a lot of bad ones, turns the ball over a bit too much. Basically, he's playing too fast for himself, which we see these guys every year. It's very common for guys like this that have probably come through the AAU system. They're just running up and down the court willy-nilly and just being more athletic than everybody else, and it just works. That's why I was so surprised that the Thompson twins were as good as they were, because that's what they went through, but somebody was training them better, and they knew the game better than most pros by the time they got there. So again, you're going to get this really raw athlete with a lot of potential, and it looks like the ability to really grow into his body. He's just really young right now, and that's fine. Like, give this guy until he's like 22 to kind of grow into his body. That, unfortunately, y'all, not everybody can be Luka Doncic and just be really good right away, but I would be excited about developing him if he came into my player development room. I'd be excited about him. I think he's interesting with some of the shots that you have seen him make and all the athleticism. I think it's cool. All right, so we're out of the lottery now, so we're going to start moving a little bit faster with these guys. Noah Sengue, I feel like he's been at 15 the whole season. He's just a little bit solid at everything. We'll continue to say that. If you've got thoughts on a Sengue, leave them in the comments below, my foreign fans. Derek Queen, by the way, is it, because you guys know I don't really watch any of this stuff with like sound on it. It occurred to me when I was making the video, it's not Derek, is it? I've never seen Derek spelled like that. I'm pretty sure it's Derek, but it just occurred to me. I'm like, could I be saying his name wrong? I've never seen Derek spelled that way, but I'm pretty sure it's Derek. You guys saw my video on Queen. Hopefully, if not, go give it a watch. We're a little bit lower on him after watching the video, kind of the same that we felt about Sorber. What did we see? We saw a guy that's not quite ready to be a hub player, but he doesn't quite have the athleticism to be a run, jump, and dunk guy. The shot is fine in the upper half, not in the lower half. Lack of explosiveness, but has some really, really good instincts, like times rebounds and blocks really well. Has got really good footwork and hands, so it's kind of like, okay, what are we getting out of this? And so I'll go to some of the comments that you guys had at the end of the video to kind of talk about him more, but I don't know exactly where he fits in right now. This is kind of an old-fashioned basketball player right here, so I guess we'll see. Nolan Traore, I believe that's how you say it. Again, big ball handler, athletic, great passer, crazy passer. Should be a good defensive player as well. The Lonzo Ball comparison is probably pretty fair, like a young Lonzo Ball. We're not sure about the ball going in the hoop right now, but there's time to develop. My buddies in the French league have told me, like, no, kid will be tough. Like, give him time. I think he's going to be tough. So that's what I have to go on with that. Igor Demean. It's funny, the concerns I had at the beginning of the season with him continue to kind of show themselves. It's like, hey, is he going to be a good enough shooter in the NBA? And also, like, if his main thing is having the basketball and playmaking, does he really look good enough to be a primary NBA ball handler? Probably not. And that's where I'm struggling with him right now. And so I'm like, okay, if that's your best thing, what do you do next then? Because that's what I'm drafting you for then, because I'm not going to probably have you being like a primary ball handler. So now I've got like this big point forward that can maybe shoot a little bit, isn't going to be probably the best defender because of a lack of athleticism. So, you know, I've got questions, but really interesting skill set, very smart player. Next, Thomas Sorber. We talked about this. We saw the defense and we said, okay, cool. Like, not many mistakes or anything, just looks fairly competent. No complaints whatsoever defensively. He's supposed to be probably one of the best defenders in this class. What we did see is kind of a lack of athleticism, though, and that worries us a little bit considering the 6'10", 255. It's like, okay, he looks like he's trying to move his body the right way. It's just not much is happening, so I'm a little bit concerned about that. But look, 6'10", 255 freshman that has some good defensive instincts. Cool. Yeah, with like a 19th, 20th pick, I'm pretty happy taking that. There's not many big men out there, so go get them. Go get them, Minnesota. Why the hell not? Will Riley, this dude just keeps bouncing around. It's because we see 6'8", can handle the rock, big ball handlers. How many times do I have to say it in this video? But basically the shot is starting to fall now, right? Is that what we're talking about? The Will Riley struggle to capitalize on a stock-boosting opportunity against Duke. Yeah, that game was rough. Some have wondered if the growth he started to show as a playmaker should have lottery considerations. I wouldn't say so in the little bit I've seen. There's always going to be interest and patience in the 6'8" scoring win with shot-making skill. Yep, that's a great way to describe it. Carter Bryant out of Arizona. I have not seen much of him at all right now. Even in limited minutes or opportunities to make plays with the ball, Carter Bryant still has been able to sell himself as a fit for a role at the next level. Positional size and athleticism, 6'8". Yeah, I've heard he's bouncy and all of that. Shooting a respectable 35% from 3 and 76% at the rim. That is nuts. Wow. Wow, that is really crazy. And defensive BPM while putting up an outstanding playmaking rate, 2.9 steal percentage, 5.9 block. Wow, that is pretty good. Okay, so my question is, why doesn't he get more minutes, right? Like, what's kind of holding us back here? That's going to be my question there. Rashir Fleming. All right, spoiler alert, this is who I'm doing a video on for you guys tomorrow. This is what you have to look forward to. Everybody's been asking about him. He only dunks and hits threes. That's apparently all he does. He is wet from outside, and he dunks the shit out of the basketball, which that just sounds like fun highlights, if nothing else. I got to see what we're working with this guy. We got a 20-year-old, 6'9", 240 power forward that is just apparently a human highlight reel. They say the shot hasn't slowed down. Cool. Can't wait to watch it. We'll do a full breakdown of him for you guys tomorrow. I'm going to record it tomorrow, which would be the 26th. Isaiah Evans from Duke. Really? Okay, after scoring 17 points, even if there's limited versatility or on-ball offense in his game, his off-ball shooting has looked extremely polished. Yep, I'd agree. 90% of his offense comes from spot-ups, running off screens, transitions, and handoffs. Great, yeah, I can obviously draw the parallel to that really easily. 6'6", 175. Skinny ass boy. I'd like you to be a little bit taller if you're going to be a skinny ass boy like that. While he'd likely have to be able to showcase more and put up bigger numbers, had he committed to another school, a tightened role. Yeah, because look, they run so much through the other guys on this team. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, we'll see if we got a shooter in him. Noah Penda, Nick Batum. Haven't watched much of him at all. Hugo Gonzalez, someone I continue to be excited about. But history tells me I shouldn't, but I'm still going to be excited. We got to find film on him more so. We're going to have to find like good film to break down on him actually because he doesn't get a ton of minutes. Boogie Flan, he's out for the season with thumb surgery. He's basically Rob Dillingham. So small guy, makes tough shots, makes a lot of mistakes though. I'm probably going to be not so great defensively. Could be a good late first round pick dude, especially after the injuries. Danny Wolf. Oh man, I try not to get too excited because again, I try not to watch a ton of college basketball, but I do it for work, right? I see the highlights online. I need to see more like full game what he's doing because I know he had that move where he like stepped back, like kiss myself, hit this 3-pointer in that dude's face at 7 foot. Cool, very, very cool. I got to see more full game film to actually form an opinion on this. But Danny Wolf, potentially interesting, versatile not a 4, probably more of a 5, still 7 foot 250 going into the NBA. Maybe a future Luke Cornett kind of guy. So I could see that. Hedo Turkoglu, interesting comparison. Nick Clifford, yep, this is the glue guy that we keep saying. 6'6" wing, doesn't make many mistakes, does everything solid. That's what you expect to see out of a senior. So there you go. Cam Jones, Bleacher Report. Fix your pictures, man. Fix your pictures. Again, big ball handlers. That's what we want in this draft. 6'5", senior point guard. That's just like, he gets buckets, right? He gets buckets. I see a Jamal Sheed type of guy where he might be able to make an impact like right away into the NBA as like a point guard. So I'd be curious to see somebody pick him up in the later first round because everybody always doubts the seniors, and I get it. You want to get the young guys that you can develop, and I get it. I get it. It extends your job as well, right? Because you're like, well, you have to give me like 4 years to build up my young guy. He's only 19. It is how it is. But a little bit I've seen out of dude, I like him. And I want to see the scoring take its way to the next level. Johnny Broome, another guy we've been saying needs to move up. We got him in the first round, yo. I see Carlos Boozer in this dude, like a more athletic Carlos Boozer. Like big, strong dude, crazy instincts, strong and tough as hell. I like this guy. I'm taking this guy end of the first round, and I'm like, I think I've got my backup center going into next year. I truly think so. 6'10", 240. I think he's just going to be smarter and stronger than everybody still at the next level. I think he's going to be evasive and he gives me Bobby Portis type vibes as well. Like just having a lot of attitude. Bobby Portis was like a 22nd pick or something like that. That's maybe where I'd take him. So I like Johnny Broome. I'd love for the Bulls to get a second first round pick and end up with like a Johnny Broome. So look out for him. Ian Jackson, great picture, Bleacher Report. Just Come on, get it updated. It can't be that hard, but we'll see. He's been as high as like a top 10 pick. Sometimes he falls down. Sometimes he goes back up. I just see him as one of those erratic, twitchy guards that doesn't actually really go anywhere. But again, gonna have to watch more film to form a permanent opinion, but not too high on him right now. Alex Tui. I don't know, man. He plays in Australia now. He finished the season with doubling his three-point makes from last year, and betting on him means betting on his shooting development. That's it right there. That's the story. Given what he could do, like he can do all the playmaking and the defense and the cuts and the drives, cool. I feel like it'd be advantageous for him to go play somewhere else for a little bit first, because I don't see enough of it right now. LeBaron Fillion, someone I'm not too interested in. We're in the second round now, so I'm kind of just going to fly through these guys. I'm not too big on Fillion personally at Alabama. I need to see, if you're going to be 19 going into the draft, I need to see a skill set that's really standing out, and I don't see it. Lendelborg, still haven't really watched much of this guy. Reynaud from Stanford, I've seen him climbing up the boards as of late. I don't know, man. I don't know. I see this big dude that's not blocking shots, and he doesn't seem like he's really comfortable like banging with dudes, and I don't know. I don't really like it for that reason. JT Toppin, not a huge fan necessarily. Dink Pate, I'll continue to be interested in just because he's such an impressive physical prospect, and he's been playing against men for the past couple seasons, so it could be interesting. Markovich, not a big fan. Lanier, not that interested right now. Rusic, still not a fan. Darren Williams, still not a fan. Swain, you could maybe talk me into him. Because like I know the shooting has been there. What are they saying about him? No shooting improvement. Yeah, has kept Swain's name from blowing up, but he's remained tempting based on 6'8" size for a wing and explosive. I know, like, oh yeah, like an Andre Jackson Jr. That's exactly what I see with this guy, and I love Andre Jackson Jr. So you could talk me into this guy. Like, he's got a little bit of playmaking to him too, in a little bit I've seen. Just keep an eye. Just calm down, all right? Keep an eye. Behringer, big dude, blocks some shots, could be interesting. Thiero, I'm not surprised to see him dropping. I just need to see an exact skill set. I know he's an exciting physical prospect, but need to see more. Jameer Watkins, not a huge fan. Walter Clayton, you guys know I'm a fan of him. Again, kind of a Jamal Sheed type, could go like end of the draft, but be like a day one, like end of the rotation type guy. I like him. De La Rea, not a huge fan. Grunlow, nope, still have not seen anything of him. Alex Caravan dropping pretty significantly here. Alex Caravan hasn't made enough strides off the dribble to change the scouting report from last year. Yep, no, he is exactly what he is. He's Georges Niang. He's a new one of those. It happens all the time. And last year he passed the draft after a relatively quiet NBA combine. He'll still earn considerations from teams because of his off-ball shooting and great instincts. Would we call them great? Yeah, I'd call them pretty good. He'll be smart. He's one of those older guys from UConn. Fair. Kalkbrenner, I just don't see it translating to the NBA. Miles Byard, I know some people have gotten interested because, again, big dude can handle the rock a little bit. Not that interested here. Xavier Lee, I like the story. We'll see how it does there. Eric Dixon, man, great college player. Feels like he'll dominate the G League, and people will ask why isn't he in the NBA, and it's because, again, kind of a Julius Randle type guy. Tyrese Proctor, I'll keep saying, dude, just keep making your money at Duke. I don't see you as an NBA dude, just keep making your money at Duke. Have some fun. Zavana Mir, I heard his name said the other day, and I can't say it. Interesting skill, dude. I haven't seen any of these guys pan out in the NBA for a little bit, so I'm kind of out on them. Faye, haven't watched any of them really at all. Hunter Salas will always be interested because he's such a bucket. Rocco Zakarski, you guys know I like him. And the little bit I've seen, I'm like, okay, I can work with this, but dude doesn't really get to play at all, and he got hurt. So I'd like, again, to see him play somewhere else or just a little bit, get a little bit more film. Donovan Dent, where is he? I don't even know who this is exactly. Shooting has kept Donovan Dent from generating NBA buzz. Have I heard of this guy? Maybe. I don't know. I don't seem to remember. But anyway, that's the end of it, y'all. That's the mock draft. As always, we do these every 2 weeks. I think it's a fun little practice to kind of keep us up to date with all that's going on in the NBA. But yeah, stay tuned for the comments of the video. Alrighty, y'all. The comment of the video comes from the Is Derek Queen NBA Ready, kind of our scouting report video that we do on him. The comment of the video comes from Michael Smith here, who just left like I thought a really insightful, really good comment, and I try to reward that and not just do funny ones every once in a while. He said, as a Boston fan, he reminds me of a couple guys I've seen come through lately He reminds me of a mix of Grant Williams and Gershon Yabusele. Tweeners who are not tall enough to go against 7-footers and not athletic enough to go against the shorter run, jump, and dunk centers, and not quite quick enough to handle quicker power forwards. And those guys were much better shooters. Those guys didn't last too long in Boston. They had to float around in and out of the league since. Both of them became less hub type centers and more 3-and-D bigger body power forwards. But I could see him becoming an older Al Horford hub type of center with a lot of work. I think that's an astounding assessment, honestly. Those are good comparisons. Kind of the same frame and level of explosiveness. But again, yeah, you're not quite seeing the touch from outside quite as much. And that's kind of where I tend to go with things as well. But I like the Al Horford shout. Like, he might not be extremely explosive ever, but I do think, as we touch on in this video, we can get somewhere with him, because I don't think he's actually using his body very well. And again, go watch the video to see what I'm talking about with that. I think some trainers could get with him and maybe make him a little bit better in that department. But honestly, we have some really interesting conversations in this one, so I hope you guys go in and watch at some point, because again, these are my favorite videos to do. But anyway, I appreciate you guys as always, and hey, we'll talk to you guys later. Stay tuned for tomorrow, where we'll do another breakdown of somebody. But thanks so much. Talk to you later.